Good day, 'tis I, Lord Pendlebury. Now, the more eagle-eared of you may have heard last week that I was unwell, and I'd be surprised if you knew. I barely mentioned it at all. But the good news is I am much better this week, so the standard of the highlights should significantly probably stay the same, but hopefully they'll improve. Anyway, if you are a member of iRacing and you would like to come and get involved, then please join us. You can follow that Discord just below me. But yeah, come and join us. Hello then, and welcome to the third round of the season. Now, in the commentary box, we do like to pride ourselves on a certain degree of impartiality, regardless of how the races go for ourselves. And full disclosure, they didn't go well for me. But yeah, I will remain impartial throughout. Now, let's take a look at the race information, and it's a fucking circle. So yes, round 3 from Talladega Super Speedway. Key information for these races: it's a 20-minute sprint race, 3 of them will be had, laps under cautions do not count, no mandatory pit stops, and 2 fast repairs. On to the grid. Anthony Marriott headed up on pole position, just 2 thousandths ahead of Jeff Sharp in second. Dan Slattery and Chris Palmer made up the second row of the grid, with Josh Morris and Paul Nicholson sharing the third. Will Thomas and Ricky Worrall were then on the fourth row, with Brian Dodd and Lord Pendlebury on the fifth. Steve Everson was then qualified in 11th, with Martin Rigby in 12th, and he's not on there for some reason, but Chris Hulse is in 13th. Well, here we go then. They round the final corner, waiting for the pace car to peel in. Oh, someone's blinking at the front. That is Mr. Marriott. Waiting we get to the Geico restart zone, sponsored by Geico, and they are off. Dougie probably not the person to focus in on when he's blinking. Already got 3 wide there into the first corner. No fucks given by this lot. Get out of the way, Cat, again. Looks like it's Worrall, Pendlebury and Paul Nicholson making things tasty at this early stage. So, 3 laps in at this stage. Chris Hulse picked up the third row in the middle mantle. Still nobody really helping push that along. Oh, there's a bit of contact. Pendlebury's all over the place. He saves it. Oh no, we were perfectly in line there to see a bit of netcode. Oh, Chris Hulse rides the catch fence there. Bit more contact. Oh, contact here, there and everywhere. His rear tailgate has sunk into the other dimension and then reattached itself. Let's go and take a look and see what happened there. So here we are then, looking down on proceedings. Chris Hulse in the middle, Marriott below, but Pendlebury up above, going into that corner, just moves down slightly. Fucking Pendlebury. Move down on somebody again, why don't you? Does a very good job of saving it there. And then you can see netcode, he saved it. They were all okay, but netcode gets involved and... Wow, there we go. Hulse into the catchment fence. Brian Dodd caught up as well. Pendlebury going backwards. Then Will Thomas, nowhere to go. He's into the side of Dodd. Not a good look for Pendlebury here. That's 2 seasons in a row now. He has caused issues in oval racing. Wow. Ready to get going again here. As said at the top of the video, 2 fast repairs each, so a few of them will have lost out there. And looks like they're off. 3 wide again in the centre of the pack there. settling into 2 lines now. Jumping forwards a few laps here. Things have been all calm so far. At least since Pendlebury shit mixed everybody. Oh, there's some contact. Looks like it was Sharp and the number 7 car of Josh Morris getting together. There's a lot of cars all over the place here. There's a fair few cars going to have to go in for some repairs there. The yellow flags are out. And whilst we wait for everything to be cleared up, let's go and see what happened. Now then, looking down at the number 7 car of Josh Morris, as well as Jeff Sharp in the number 19 car there. The camel towing advocate. As you can see there, Sharp's quite high in that middle lane, as is Morris. They both come down a bit though as they go through the corner. Turns out I've started this replay a little bit too early. Sharp continues to move down into the other lane, and it's unfortunate. There's some definite netcode involved again there, and everyone starts to pile in, nowhere to go. Steve Everson there getting turned around in the middle, as is Paul Nicholson. Will Thomas also, I think, involved a bit again there. Ready to go again. Coming up to the Geico restart zone, sponsored by Geico. It's a very animated crowd you can see here in the foreground. And they go. Oh, we've got 2-3 wides there. It's becoming 4 wide. This is not necessarily going to end well. I'll tell you what, it looks like Pendlebury's got a cracking run on the top line. Got Will Thomas as support. Palmer and Worrall up the front. I've got quite a nice little gap. Not enough to do anything with, but pretty impressive start from there. Jamie Nicholson also getting involved. There is the repaired truck of Sharp. Repaired truck of many, to be honest. Steve Everson featured. Pendlebury got caught up in that second incident as well. He'll just be relieved that he didn't cause it. And it is that top line of Sharp, Pendlebury, et al. For those Latin speakers amongst you. Got Marriott there in support as well, with Josh Morris just behind him. Two very neat lines at the moment. Oh, Marriott's disappeared. He's reappeared again. Things starting to get tasty again. Marriott has dived down the middle. Will Thomas looking to support him. Steve Everson also looking to get involved. So we've got a line of 3, 3 and 4 up the top. Josh Morris sweeps down to the inside. Only 6 laps to go at this point. Absolutely stellar move there from Anthony Marriott. Went down the inside, had an excellent run, and he now leads that top line. Oh, that is Ricky Worrall that's gone round. There's a lot of damage for all. That is going to be catastrophic news for some, because they'll have used their 2 fast repairs. So keep an eye on the number 53 car of Will Thomas. Middle of this group, and just they get a little bit close, comes down slightly, bit of netcode assisted contact with Chris Palmer. They all, well, they're all over the place. Disaster for all involved there. There's a stranded Ricky Worrall. Here's number 22 machine. Some say that that was the 22nd number he chose to be racing in. Here we can see it from a different angle because they scatter like, well, cars absolutely everywhere there. I'll tell you what, someone who is going to be absolutely licking their lips, Dan Slattery, got caught up. There he is, minding his own. Got caught up in the second incident of the race. And yeah, this is going to bring him right back into play, which is exactly what he needed. You can see the distance there. Pace car has peeled off. They can't be trusted to start 2 by 2. And it looks like they've gone. Tell you what, Anthony Marriott's got quite the jump on everybody there. Chris Huff's going with him. He won't get far, but always nice. Yeah, I mean, that's 0.9 of a second behind Martin Rigby, and it looks like people are starting to open up into two lines yet again. A few drivers are carrying damage after that last incident, myself being one of them. 3 lines again already. People looking to make some moves in the closing few laps. You know what, Slattery and Worrall have made one hell of a move there. Oh, there's Everson that's gone round. Yellow flags are flying. Where's he gone? There's he gone. They're recovering there. Well, there's a couple of things we'll go back and have a look at there. Firstly, we want to see that move from whatever their names are, Slattery and Worrall, and then we'll go on to see just what happened there. That is a smoky machine. Now, keep an eye on the number 24 and number 22 cars. You've got to start the replay this far back to truly appreciate the excellence of this move. They came from far back, went their own way, and just had such good momentum. You can see them charging their way around the outside there, nose to tail, the best way to run. Slasser has already got his nose ahead of Marriott down on that bottom line. And there you go, excellent stuff. Keep an eye on the number 25 car, Steve Everson, in the middle there, and just I think moves up slightly into Morris, but Morris, maybe he moved down slightly as well. Feels a bit like a racing incident, that one, but another yellow card flies. This isn't a Liverpool football match, no, it's another yellow flag flies. Right then, will we ever make it to the end of this race? That is the question at this point. Got a 45-minute time limit. At this stage, we are at 42 minutes. And there we go. Dan Slattery puts the hammer down. Ricky Worrall following him with Marriott behind him. It's then a little bit of a gap back to Chris Palmer in 4th place. And then onto the last lap they go. And I'll tell you what, that early breakaway from Slattery, Worrall and Marriott has worked an absolute treat. Here they are, the three of them. You kind of feel at this stage, we are on the last lap, we are on the back straight, that it is now simply a case of which order the podium is going to be in. Take a look back at Chris Palmer. He is 3 wide. This is quite the battle going on, but we're going to go back to the leaders. They are slowly closing in that group, but they're not going to make it. And it looks like Slattery may have this wrapped up, does he? Worrall moves to the outside. Marriott's got nowhere to go. Oh, there's death behind. And it's Worrall that takes it. Slattery second. Worrall. No, not Worrall. Worrall has already taken it. Marriott in third place. And I think that was Chris Palmer who got a hell of a head of steam. Actually sets the fastest lap of the race there. Back to the trusty chopper in slow motion then. This group of 6 battling it out for best of the rest. And if we keep an eye on number 70, Paul Nicholson and Jeff Sharp, that is where the contact is initiated. Sharp gives a bump here to Palmer, which really is the catalyst for him finishing in 4th place. And then you can see there Nicholson moves down. That triggers a hit into Sharp, which triggers him turning into Chris Hulse. Then Morris and Dodd also get involved. Chris Palmer, I'll tell you what, he had a great run at the end there after that assist from Sharp. But yeah, you can quite clearly see there Worrall, Slattery and Marriott finishing in the top 3. Palmer had another lap there. I think he'd have got that. Right, let's go and take a look at the results. Right then, let's take a look at those results. Ricky Worrall finishes in first with his 2nd win of the season. Dan Slattery then finished in 2nd with Anthony Marriott in 3rd. Chris Palmer had that great run at the end but wasn't quite good enough to get himself onto the podium. Jeff Sharp, despite his woes in the final few hundred metres, he came home to finish 5th. We then had Josh Morris in 6th with Brian Dodd in 7th, Paul Nicholson in 8th and Martin Rigby in 9th, scoring his first points of the season. We then had Lord Pendlebury finishing in 10th, rounding out the point scorers in the overall standings. We then had Chris Hulse, Steve Everson and Will Thomas finishing in 11th, 12th and 13th. Right, we will take a very short break and then come back with the highlights for race 2. Hello then and welcome back for round 4 or race 2 on the evening. We are still at Talladega. The only difference between this and the first race qualifying is based on reverse championship position. Now, as mentioned last week, for reasons unknown, it's really not very good at knowing the order when we set the grid, so it is time for Guess That Livery. I need to switch to a camera that's far more appropriate than that. But yes, we have Will Thomas in pole position, I believe, with the number 2 car of Josh Morris alongside him. Number 2 car of Josh Morris? That can't be right. Josh Morris isn't number 2. Martin Rigby's number 2. So Martin Rigby is actually in pole position. This has not been a good start. Martin Rigby in pole position. Then who the fuck? Will Thomas next. Then I believe it's Josh Morris. Then Chris Palmer. Will you get in fucking line, mate? Do you realise how hard it is to try to do this? Or is Chris Palmer in line? And is it just... oh, God knows. That's Paul Nicholson's in there as well. So is Anthony Marriott, Chris Palmer, Steve Everson, Chris Hulse, Dan Slattery. No, Lord Pendlebury, then Dan Slattery, Ricky Worrall, then Jeff Sharp, maybe. I don't know. Absolute shit show, mate. Right, after that seamless introduction to this race, they hone into the Geico restart zone. however you bloody pronounce it. Either way, it's sponsored by Geico. They're off. The engines start wailing. Rigby leads them away. Well, I thought it was probably worth checking in, considering that we are now at roughly the halfway point of the race. Very little has happened, a little bit of changing for position. Martin Rigby no longer leads, but is third on that bottom line. That bottom line has been running with a huge degree of success. Josh Morris is leading the way on the top line. Steve Everson is there for company. Ricky Worrall had been hanging at the back. There'd been a few of them hanging at the back. Some of them playing silly buggers with trying to get the fastest lap time. I wouldn't know anything about that. I definitely didn't want Doug Slattery to save me and drag me back up to the group. Things are starting to heat up a little bit now. 3 lines are starting to form as we get into the last handful of laps. Oh, there's contact there. Palmer involved. Martin Rigby also involved there. Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people involved there. So, if we focus on third and bottom line there, Martin Rigby just moves up. Not much Chris Palmer could have done about that. Rolls backwards. Oh, the big hit from Worrall into the pit barrier there. Oh, spins it whilst trying to recover. But yeah, unfortunate stuff. One can assume Martin Rigby believed he was free there. Well, pace car peels away for the first time in this second race. They've been better behaved this time round. Marriott leaves the way. He leads the way, and off they go. Looks like Penderbury is making an early move for that outside line. He's got Slattery in support. Will Thomas has also made a move up to that top line. That should give Penderbury and Slattery a good boost. Penderbury decides to go high. Penderbury and Slattery now leading that high line. It is Marriott and Everson leading the bottom. Back into 3 lines they go. Got Marriott, Everson and Hulse on the bottom. Slattery, Penderbury and Worrall in the middle. Also with Palmer and Thomas for support. Oh no, it's happened again to Worrall. Slattery and Penderbury move down to claim the lead of that lower line, and Worrall left to fend for himself. Marriott, however, has joined that outside line. Potentially very well played from him. That outside line, rumour has it, is the quicker line if they are tight and well together. Which unfortunately at the moment for them, they aren't quite. Slattery, Penderbury, Palmer, Marriott, Worrall and Thomas. Which line is going to win out here? Everyone else behind as well, hoping to pick up the pieces if it all goes wrong. Oh, and it has done. Not entirely sure what happened there, but it looks like Slattery's momentum's been killed. Will Thomas has come through. Looks like he's going to take the win. Worrall is very close to taking second. He does indeed, with Slattery in third place. Everybody else is in fourth. Not sure what happened there as they came into the final turn. We will go and unpack that. But congratulations to Will Thomas. Takes the win with Worrall and Slattery rounding out the podium. So, looking down from the blimp here, focusing on Ricky Worrall, the number 22. Just gets ever so slightly into the back of Marriott. He comes down on Slattery. Pendlebury's engine dies behind them. That causes more trouble. And you can see here, Thomas takes the win quite convincingly by oval standards. Worrall and Slattery rounding out the podium. Well then, let's take a look at the final classification after round 4. Will Thomas in first with Ricky Worrall in second and Dan Slattery in third. I've covered that extensively in the last few seconds. We then had Chris Hulse, best of the AM category, finishing in fourth. Despite Worrall's close attention to his rear end, Marriott recovered to take 5th place with Jeff Sharp coming home behind in 6th. Josh Morris was in 7th with Steve Everson in 8th, Paul Nicholson in 9th and Lord Pendlebury in 10th for the second race running. We then had Chris Palmer in 11th and Martin Rigby coming home in 12th, unfortunately 2 laps down. Hello then, and welcome back for this final race of the evening. And I'll tell you what, lads, we need to knock these triple header races on the head, because fuck me, is it a mission going through and recording all of this. Right, only a couple of minor changes before we run through the grid. This time the laps under caution do not count, and we had an open qualifying session before this race started, so the grid will actually show as accurate, and here it is. So Chris Palmer and Steve Everson, they put together an excellent run in the final dying seconds of qualifying to come home in first and second. I need to stop saying come home because it makes it sound like they've just finished the race. They haven't, they've just qualified. Then first of the pro category is Lord Pendlebury in P3 with Josh Morris in 4th alongside him. Anthony Marriott qualified in 5th with Dan Slattery in 6th. Brian Dodd was in 7th with Will Thomas in 8th. Martin Rigby qualified in 9th with Jeff Sharp rounding out the top 10. Paul Nicholson qualified 11th and Chris Hulse in 12th. And I still haven't worked out how we get this, what should we call it, this graphic to start scrolling, but Ricky Worrall qualified in 13th. So the pace car has tucked away into the pit lane, and looks like Chris Hulse has gone. I'll tell you what, Brian Dodd has been caught napping slightly there. Looks like he's dropped off behind Chris Hulse a bit. That's Steve Everson up on the high line trying to get ahead of Palmer and Pendlebury. Marriott coming to support the two Ps, the PPs if you will. Looks like he is making a move to that outside line though. Who will get there to support him? Josh Morris is the person to do that. I tell you what, that is a prominent top line, and Pendlebury and Palmer are going to struggle to fight that off. Wow, already approaching half distance in this race. Things have moved around a little bit, but not a huge amount. Top line Looking a little disorganised. Oh, there's contact there. Not sure what happened. Chris House appeared to spin round though, as if nudged from behind. Oh, and there is the aftermath. Jeff Sharp has been caught up in that. Chris House has been caught up in it. There's Steve Everson trying to recover as well. Looks like he's in a pretty poor way. That's Josh Morris. Let's go and have a look and see what happened. So looking down from the chopper, if we keep an eye on the number 25 car of Steve Everson. There, running that middle line, trying to find the gap. Closes up a little bit, and he makes a little bit of contact with the rear end of Chris Holtz's car, and into the barriers they went. Oh, and Jeff Sharp, he was about to make it through there, but couldn't quite. That's a shame. Now, take a look at Jeff Sharp. He is at the back here, just minding his own business, gets on the brakes early. You think he's done a great job of avoiding it, and then bam, bam, double twatting for him. Right, ready to go again. Sharp leaving a bit of gap there. Palmer's gone. I'll tell you what, Chris Palmer, he has done a... haven't really... Well, we've mentioned him a fair bit, but haven't really mentioned how good a job he has done in leading the lines this evening. He has always been there or thereabouts. Marriott looking to lead that second line up high there. He also is, well, a connoisseur, a specialist, some would say, in the oval racing category. I'll tell you what, I forgot about this, but there's not a huge amount going out on track at the moment, so I could cut this out, but we could also have our Helmet of the Week competition, something we discussed in the pre-season. You can see at the bottom left a very blue affair from Tuggy. Take a look at Will Thomas's helmet. Oh, he's done a lovely job of corresponding that to the colours on his van. It's not a van, is it? It's a truck. Looking very nice there. Winning it so far for me. What's Slattery's helmet doing? I mean, it's nice, it's understated, but doesn't match up with the car. Tell you whose helmet I am a big fan of. Chris Palmer's. Look at that. That is belting. All he needs to do is match the colours of his truck's livery to it, and that'd be a winner for me. One of the master helmets here then, Jeff Sharp. Got flames coming out the bottom of his. Tell you what, who's that? Chris Hulse and Steve Everson dropping a little way off the pack there. They I think they are still within drafting distance, but they won't want to get much further back, I can tell you from experience. Now, let's have a look at one of the newer helmets in the series, Josh Morris. Oh, that's very nice. Suave design, matches the car livery. I tell you what, you must be wondering, how long can you go on with this? Well, I'm going to carry on. Brian Dodd, what's your helmet looking like? Oh, it's a Lando Norris helmet. Big fan of that. Lovely stuff. Anyway, I think we should probably knock this on the head here. If you want to vote for your Helmet of the Week, though, do feel free to comment in the section below the video. So it's starting to get awfully tasty. 3 wide in a couple of places there. Now, I have fast forwarded a bit here. Not sure if any action is coming up, but I tell you what, I think this is the neatest 3 lines we have had so far this evening. So clearly practice does something. Oh, well, apparently it doesn't. I'll tell you what, I've done well there, haven't I? Picking up where there's action. Absolutely everybody involved, I think. Just a couple at the front managed to get away with it. It's not gone well, though, for most people. That's going to be a lot of repairs. Oh, that's Ricky Worrall struggling with life. Jump on board then with Josh Morris. And just take a look at Dan Slattery there. Just pulls out a bit, catches Chris. We think we're home free with Josh here, but unfortunately not. Just gets tagged. And round he goes. Now, if we focus in on Dan Slattery, the number 24 car. See there, just gets a little bit of overlap, contact with Hulse, and then absolutely everybody gets involved. I'm sure Palmer will say he deserves a nomination for Helmet of the Week. They are ready to go again. And off they go again. Now, if memory serves, it is green, white, checkered as they go across the line. Now, if you don't know what that is, because it turned out a fair amount of us didn't know what that means, it means you get one green flag lap, then you get the white flag, and then it is the checkered flag. So green, white, checkered means 2 laps to go. By the time I've explained all of that, it's 1.5 laps to go. And I tell you what, that is a mighty fine breakaway bunch there from Marriott, Sharp and Slattery. Slattery decides to leave that though and go for the wide line. Pendlebury moves up to 3rd in that bottom line with Brian Dodd right behind him. We've got Chris Palmer and Ricky Worrall leading a 3rd line there as well. Round to the start finish they go. There is the white flag flying, so 1 lap left. What can be done? Oh, I cannot remember the last... Oh, and it's already gone wrong. I was about to say I can't remember the last time that we had a final lap where it didn't all go wrong. Oh, there's a bit of movement there from Dodd. Argy-bargy with Everson. Sharp takes to the infield. Was he pushed? Probably. Marriott seems to have got one hell of a lead here, though. Is it insurmountable for everyone else? I don't know. Oh, there's more bashing from Dodd and Everson. Morris also looking to get involved here. Oh, I tell you what, that's a close finish. I think it was... Oh, and there's death after the line. Now then, let's take a look at that first incident. Focus on the number 21 car of Lord Pendlebury. Has a bit of a run up the inside of Will Thomas, but just decides to turn across him. Definitely wants that Helmet of the Week title for himself, the absolute pleb. And then there's a bit of argy-bargy there between Slattery and Sharp. That sends Sharp down low. Then there's more carnage there between Slattery and Worrall. Bit more argy-bargy there from Everson and Dodd. Hull's also looking to get involved. And then Tuggy gets taken out after the line. He won't mind though. Gets that win. Now taking a look at the 24 car and the 22 car. Slattery and Worrall. Worrall trying to find an outside line there that just didn't really exist. And, well, Slattery says, "You're not fucking turning me, mate." Eventually Worrall gets himself free, but loses out on a few positions there. And Slattery reverses his way to the line. Well then, an exciting 3 races this evening. Let's take a look at the final results for that race. So we have Anthony Marriott came home in 4th, just 44 hundredths of... Oh, God, say that when you're drunk. Just 44 hundredths of a second ahead of Steve Everson. Josh Morris was 99 hundredths back from Anthony Marriott as well, so a very tight finish there. Then just 1.2 seconds back was Will Thomas, with Jeff Sharp 0.6 of a second behind him in 5th. Chris Palmer, he finished in 6th place in the end, and then Ricky Worrall after that run-in with Dan Slattery finished in 7th. Slattery himself reversed across the line in 8th. despite Pendlebury's best efforts to chase him down after the carnage he'd caused on the back straight. Brian Dodd then took the final point scoring position of that race in 10th. Chris Hulse came home 11th, a lap down. Paul Nicholson retired 6 laps from the end, with Martin Rigby retiring a full 25 laps from the end. Now, let's take a look at the overall standings and see what that does. Well, here are the points before tonight, and now let's bring up the points after tonight. And Ricky Worrall has done a good job of extending that lead. He remains in first place, 3 points shy of the ton. Jeff Sharp is then in second. He moves up a position. He's on 63 points though. Anthony Marriott has jumped big time, having not taken part in the first race, but as we said earlier, a connoisseur of the oval. Marriott is now in third place on 58 points. Steve Everson is then in fourth place on 51, sharing that position with Dan Slattery. Then have Will Thomas in sixth. He's up 3 positions from where he ended up last week. Lord Pendlebury, the biggest loser this week, and the biggest helmet as well, arguably, with those 2 incidents he caused. He's down 5 positions, with Chris Hulse just behind him in 8th on 36 points. Josh Morris is in 9th on 32, with Chris Palmer in 10th on 26. Paul Nicholson is then in 11th place on 14 points, with Jamie Nicholson didn't take part this week, also the biggest loser, but I think that puts Lord Pendlebury in a even bigger of a loser title. More loser, what an absolute loser he is, because Jamie Nicholson didn't even take part and he's only fallen full 5 positions. Oh Christ, this is a poor run through, isn't it? Then Brian Doss in 13th, he's on 7 points. Josh Levy didn't take part tonight either, he's on 3 points. And Martin Rigby, his first races of the season this evening, he is in 15th on 2 points. And Axel has yet to take part yet this season, but I'm sure once he does, he will be collecting those points up. Anyway, I think that is probably enough for us there. So next week we are in the GT4s and we are at Road Atlanta, that absolute roller coaster of a track. I need to go and learn it. So yeah, for now, ciao.